What is going on, everyone? Core here, and we are going to speak on rebooting computers. As many of you know, I'm very familiar with computers. I've worked in IT for many years, and there are a lot of similarities that you can take out of technology and apply them to yourself, your body, your mind, and your environment, and what you are doing. And one of the simplest things that fixes many computer issues, and it's because of in the simplicity are the most profound truths, or the most profound occurrences of things. And the simple information is where you will find the complexity of information. And that's the same case when it comes to computers. There's all these things always running on computers. Phones, for example, even. There's all these things running on these technological devices. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's your TV, your computer you're using, your phone, your microwave, all of these different appliances, and a lot of them have computers in them in some way, shape, or form. Because a computer it's just electronics. It's been orchestrated in a way to do a specific type of processing, as opposed to something like an older style microwave or even TV. Before they were smart TVs, they were made to process images and not also process the applications, as they would call them, to provide you different services. Now they have computers in them. It's the same exact thing. They're basically big ass smartphones is really all it is. They're running off of the same type of chips that a lot of phones are. Anyways, though, let's keep this video going. I can get off into many different tangents with technology. One thing that fixes it majority of time that people fail to do is rebooting the device. And it's a simple fix, and people don't think that simplicity is going to fix it. And people also don't want to reboot, like, say, their computer, because they got 15 different tabs open. They've got multiple applications open. They don't want to have to reopen all of this stuff. They don't want to have to find where they were again, necessarily, because a lot of people don't know how to actually save the session or go back to what they were just doing, or how to set that up on a computer. So a lot of people know how to do what they do on a computer, and that's all that they really know how to do for the most part. They don't go out to find the intricacies of how it could better serve them if they would just take the time to look for that. Because everyone's run into these issues. And there's solutions out there for all of them, because they're minor annoyances that people have created solutions for in one way or another. And it's the same thing with life. It's the same thing with our body. We don't want to take the time to stop to reboot ourselves, to reboot our mind, because we want to keep going. We feel that we can just keep doing patchwork, that we can just keep going, and that as we keep going, we'll just get past what is actually causing us ailment physically and mentally. And that's not the case. It's actually adding extra stress to us. And that's the same with computers. Is if you just keep going, ignoring the issues that you have, thinking that they're just going to go away, they're not going to. And that's because the simplicity of rebooting your computer is that it clears the memory. And when you clear the memory out, you get rid of all the memory leaks, which I have a video on that. You can check out something with memory leaks. I'll leave it at the end screen of this video. And these memory leaks build up in a computer. There's all programs, to some extent, they have memory leaks because there's no perfect program out there, because they're always being updated, new features. They're adding this, they're patching this, and it creates more issues. The Windows gets updated, Mac gets updated. Now these applications have issues. It's just constant incompatibilities because there's constant updates. There's constant movement within technology nowadays. And it's the same with your body. It's constantly moving. It's constantly doing things. The same with your mind. There's constantly ideas and thoughts and occurrences going through the mind. It's the same thing. There's constant movement around you, and this is all going through you because you're moving through that. And when you take all these different intricacies of how things could be moving, you can see why rebooting is so important. And it's in the word, to reboot, to boot something. The boot is your foot. It's your grounding source. It's where you start. So you take it back to the ground. You ground yourself out, because that's truly what you're doing when you reboot a computer. Is you want to ground it out. So you don't just want to hit the reboot button necessarily, because it might not fully clear out the memory. You could cause more problems because of how they've changed how Windows works. It doesn't even do a full reboot all the time, depending on how it's being rebooted. So it might be a good idea to completely power it down, which is hard to do with laptops nowadays because the batteries are built in. But with the desktop, you would just remove the power cord from it, let it sit for a few minutes, hit the power button to actually make sure that the electricity is being drained out of it, because that's the most important part, is getting all the electricity out, getting all the garbage out of it, which there's broken electrical broken electrical charges within the circuitry. And shutting your computer down will get rid of most of it, but there could be residual charges left in the power supply and the capacitors. So you unplugging the power cord, like I said, you can't really do this with a laptop nowadays though, and then pressing that power button, it discharges all of that. You can't do it with a laptop because the battery is built in. So unless you want to open up your computer to unplug the battery and do that same process, you can't really do it to that full extent. Now, it's not necessarily necessary to do it to that extent, but that's going to assure that all electricity is drained out of the electronic device. And you can do this with anything. It doesn't just have to be computers. Draining the electricity completely out of any electronic device is the first step to troubleshooting it. Fully draining it. And you do that by unplugging the power source and pressing all the buttons. A lot of them. As many as you want. Just start pressing buttons, because especially the power button, because it will try to go through a startup process and then it'll realize it doesn't have power really, but it will try to. If you do it quick enough, you'll even see that light come on, because there is electricity stored in those capacitors, and it's going to try to go through that booting process, but it's not really going to have the power to, so it's just it's draining the capacitors. Capacitors are basically little batteries. So it's getting rid of all of the residual charge out of them so that you can start fresh. And this is the same thing that we do with ourselves, that we need to do with ourselves. Because if we think that we can just keep going and these issues are just going to solve themselves, that's not the case. That's why people get so stressed out. Because you need to take time away. You need to ground yourself. You need to step away from technology. You need to go put your feet on the ground, go out to the ocean, go into the forest for rest, and allow yourself to discharge. Allow that electricity to flow back into the ground. Stop pulling it all and holding it all within your actual body, because you're holding charges in your muscles and in your tissues and in your veins, in your blood. You're holding all of these electrical charges because your body's an electrical system. And it makes you nervous. It makes you anxious. It causes you to short circuit when you carry on doing this over and over without fully just letting yourself relax. Get back to grounding. Just be there. Stop thinking, because you got to do this mentally too, because the mind will cause the body to keep getting a charge, because that's what's going on. It's a symbiotic relationship between the mind and the body. So we need to discharge both of these things at the same time if we really want to get to a good grounding source. So we need to stop thinking about things. We need to just let these ideas go. You'll get, if it's something that profound, you'll get it back. Don't even think about it, because there's no idea or truth or occurrence or event or aha that is as important and as centering and balancing as just letting it all go. Once you let it all go, that's when you really will have your best ideas. That's where you really will start to pick up on things that are like super profound to you in your existence. So I would suggest going to the forest. If you're not near the ocean, the best place to go is to the ocean, to a beach where there's no one out there, where there's nothing around, and just sit there and watch it. But if you're not near the ocean, go to the forest. Do the same thing in the forest. Just sit there. Just observe what's around you. And you don't even need to do that, but it makes it easier being in an environment that is calm and balanced in itself. So it would be the best idea to do that. Or right now it's winter. If you could have sat and just looked at the snow. That's pretty much the ocean. It's the same type of concept of washing something away, of hiding something, of bringing you back to a blank slate, discharging. And we can do this in our homes too, but then this is where meditation comes into it. You close your eyes and you let everything go. You completely lose that you even have a body. You lose where you are. Let it go. Let it all relax, because it turns into energy at that point. Your body just turns into energy. So then you can start releasing all of this energy, which the energy is compounded electricity. That's why we get our muscles get sore and cramped, and we start to get stressed, and people get into a certain type of posture. It's just not balanced. It's very unconductive to being able to move through existence proficiently. And I say unconductive as in it doesn't conduct electricity, because it's coiled up and it's actually storing electricity, but it's not where you want to store it, because it's actually in the process of your path of what you're trying to move this electricity down to. That's why we need a discharge. But the best place to go is in the forest, at the ocean, and put your feet on the ground. If your feet aren't on the ground, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to discharge your body. Nearly impossible. It's still possible, but it makes it overabundantly more difficult, to the point where just go step outside and do it. Because putting your feet on the ground actually brings all the electricity instantly. It starts to ground itself out. Instantly will start to make you feel better. If you have cramped muscles, go stand on the ground outside and breathe, because breathing gets the electricity flowing, the energy flowing, and it will ground it out. That's why it's so important to breathe in this process, especially if you're breathing in ionized air. Ocean, forests, you got the trees all around you, you got the oxygen. It is allowing this energy to be grounded even more efficiently. And this is why it's so important to do it in these environments. It's going to work much, much, much better, much more efficiently, and much quicker. But now all of us don't have that opportunity. We might be in the middle of doing some type of work and we're getting stressed out. You can still do this. You can absolutely still do this. It's just not going to be that complete discharge that's going to do a full system reboot. that's really what I'm talking about here, is a full system reboot. We can still do these little quick reboots that is going to sustain us until we can get to a full system reboot, but the full system reboot is really what starts it all over, so that we can get charged back up in a more efficient, more constructive way for what we're actually doing. Because no matter how conscious you are of what you're doing, we're going to absorb energies that are not going to fit well with what we are actually conducting, what we are actually doing, what is actually occurring with us. And it's not good or bad, it just is what happens in this environment where we're sharing things. So we need to make sure that we allow our mind and body to let go of all that. And that's exactly what is going on with the computer, with the full system reboot. Anyone has any computer issues, that's the first thing. Even if you just reboot your computer, it's going to fix a lot of issues. But going that extra step and completely discharging all of electricity from it is going to fix even more issues potentially, especially weird issues that seem to pop up out of nowhere. Because we get so caught up in the software of computers that this is a software issue, when a lot of software issues are caused by just the hardware needing a break, because the hardware gets stressed out. And that's the same with us. This software out here, this environment, we see it as why is this happening around me? Why does this keep occurring? Why do I keep having these problems? Why am I stubbing my toe day after day? Why do I keep walking into things and tripping day after day? It's telling you need to take a trip. You need to go on vacation. Because this environment is the software. It's the operating system out here for us to utilize, to do things in, to create in. And when we start to see the signs of things not going right, we need to decharge our hardware. Same with the computer, same with our body, same with our mind. Because you got the physical computer, you got the software on it that you're looking at, then you got the baseline OS that's actually running on the hardware itself. The OS would be your mind, the software within the OS would be your environment, and the hardware would be your body. And there's layers to all of this, to how it all relates to us, because it's a spiraling, weaving effect of how this actually comes together. And that's it. That is why rebooting your computer is so important. This is why you need to do it for yourself too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like it, subscribe to my channel so you can get more of this amazing content that I release when I feel like it. And have a wonderful day, everyone.